In Nigeria's South-South, the Rivers State House of Assembly has withdrawn the impeachment notice against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. And the lawmakers who took the decision at their sitting in Port Harcourt on Wednesday said their change of heart was as a result of the peace deal brokered by President Bola Tinubu. The State Assembly has been engulfed in crisis since late October after some lawmakers loyal to the former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, plotted to remove Mr. Fubara. The crisis, triggered by the political tussle between Fubara and Wike, later led to the declaration of the seats of 25 pro-Wike lawmakers vacant after their defection from the PDP to the APC. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has insisted that there is no remedy for the Rivers State lawmakers whose seats were declared vacant following their defection to the All Progressives Congress, except through a fresh election. And now to further discuss this, I'm now joined by Professor Richard Wokocha, an Associate Professor of Public Law, Rivers State University. Thank you so much, Professor Wokocha, for joining us.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
All right. Now, talking about the Rivers State political tussle, how does this case highlight the ongoing tension between the political party that are loyal and the principles of the democracy at large?
I think this matter has dragged to a point now where, first, from your question, what this reveals is that the state is in a bad state in the sense that loyalty of majority of members who were in the House seem to lie elsewhere and not necessarily on the well-being of the state. And I think that's what this crisis has demonstrated. Beyond that, I think even the developments that have taken place recently, that's the meeting with the presidency or with the president and some other persons, I think has not solved the problem. It still hasn't solved the problem.
Right. And
but it shows a divided house in which loyalty lies elsewhere and not to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And speaking of political defections, Prof, do you think that that issue should be handled, through the changes of Constitution or through any other legislative means?
You cannot amend a section of the Constitution except by the due process of amending the Constitution. So unless the Constitution changes, unless the Constitution is amended, it remains what it is. And as I have said over and over, even in this media, the issue of what the Constitution says cannot be settled politically, cannot be resolved by an agreement or a political willing or dealing. It cannot be resolved by a directive. The presidency or the executive have no power to amend the Constitution. So nothing has changed as far as the Constitution is concerned. Nothing has changed.
Recently, we've heard of cases of threats of impeachment, to different, governors and, people in power. But do you think that the process of impeachment needs a reform so as we don't hear it easily as though it's something that is so easy to do without proper evidence? Can you hear me, Prof?
Sorry, there was a glitch, but I can hear you now. So can you please take it again?
Of course, I'll give it another try. Now, I was saying that recently we've heard about threats of impeachment from different angles, as though it's something that is very easy to achieve. A lot of times some allegations just come up and people think that based on that, they can have someone impeached. So I guess the question is, do you think that the impeachment process needs a reform so that at least we can take it more seriously in this part of the world?
I think the impeachment process is okay the way it is. It would have been worse if some of the innovations that have come up now were not added. The inclusion of the chief judge of a state at the state level and chief justice of Nigeria at the federal level in the process to set up a committee of independent minds who are not partisan It's an improvement on the process, and I think it provides a reasonable security for legislative recklessness, as we have seen exhibited in a number of cases. So I think the impeachment process is okay the way it is.
All right. Finally, how does this case reflect on the unique political climate of Rivers State, and does it have any implication on the rest of Nigeria?
Well, this case has highlighted what we have always done in Nigeria. We have always talked of the godfatherism, but it's always been a muted thing, explaining some confusing and unreasonable actions we are seeing in governance, and we refer to them as product of godfatherism. But I think the Rivers State case this time has brought it to a new level where godfatherism is presented as an issue that should be given attention, and where publicly demand is made that godfatherism should be honored, and that even the law should bow to godfatherism. I think there are lessons to take from this Rivers State experience, and that lesson remains for the rest of the country, that we need to understand that what is and what is not is not. Issues that are not for public consumption should not become the main issues over which citizens will debate across the country the way we have done in Rivers State. A constitutional matter is a constitutional matter, and it must be followed constitutionally. So I think there are a lot of lessons and takeaways from this. And even for those who have to flex the power of godfatherism, they also have a lot to learn from what has transpired in Rivers State, that you can actually go so far that you harm yourself, as it were.
All right, Professor Richard Wokocha, an Associate Professor of Public Law, Rivers State University. Thank you so much for your time with us on the news.
It's a citizen's duty. Thanks for having me.